So sorry if this is a weird thing to ask. I've just had mixed reactions to this from my friends, so why not ask total strangers online? I have an apartment with one other roommate for school. We both, 22-year-old male, hate the smell of things like carts, vapes, cigarettes, etc. I also personally hate anything with nicotine because of how addictive it is. I've seen what it does to people, and personally, I just don't want that stuff in my house. Since none of our friends smoke cigarettes or vape, we never really made a rule about it. Well, my spring break was last week and my younger sister, 21-year-old female, came to visit for a weekend. She kept hitting her vape. It was like it was just second nature for her to grab the thing and take a hit. I asked her to stop because the smell was bothering me, and while she apologized, she kept getting defensive about hitting it so much because she can't just go cold turkey for a weekend. Honestly, that's fair. While I've never experienced withdrawal from nicotine, I have experienced withdrawal from some antidepressants, and it's horrible. I'd never wish that onto anyone. But because it was still bothering me, I went to my roommate about adding no vaping to our official house rules. He was cool with it because we both don't like having that stuff in our space. Since we agreed to add that, I texted my sister. The text was brief, and I just explained that if she came to visit again this semester, she couldn't vape here anymore. Well, she blew up at me about it. She reminded me that withdrawal is horrible, and so she can't just give it up for a weekend to see me. She also said that it's not that big of a deal and that she'll just use it in the bathroom if it bugs me that much. Her reaction honestly just made me want to enforce the rule further. But at the same time, I feel bad because I'm basically forcing her to stop doing something just because I don't like it. I'm not trying to be some guardian angel helping people end their nicotine addiction, nor am I asking her to stop vaping completely. I don't want to not allow my sister into my apartment over some flavored air. I just don't want that trash in my apartment. I later went to some friends and their responses are mixed. A few of my friends said stuff along the lines of how I'm just setting a boundary, similar to someone who doesn't drink asking his guests not to drink only while they are in his home. But other friends are saying that I'm trying to force my opinions on vaping onto my sister, or I'm trying to force her to quit vaping. That's not what I want to do though. We're both adults, and while I'm not happy she vapes, it's not my place to act all high and mighty. She's her own person, and she can do what she wants. I just don't want some things to happen in my house. So am I the idiot for not allowing vaping in my apartment? Edit. My sister is more than welcome to step outside. I didn't think of it as an option because I'm worried it's inconvenient to ask since I live on the 5th floor of my building. Second, edit. I just checked my lease and smoking of any kind is not permitted anywhere on the property. Thank you all for reminding me to check that. Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1, not the idiot. This has always bothered me. No one would dare light up a cigarette or join in someone's house without asking, but vape the stuff? They literally don't care. It's mind-boggling. OP, I'm the same as you. If you're sucking on something and creating a cloud of whatever, do it outside. Comment 2, not the idiot, it's your house, and as long as you and your roommate are on the same page, it's fine. Nobody needs to vape indoors. If her addiction is that bad, she can do what smokers always have to do in workplaces/restaurants/bars and go outside for a smoke break. It's not like you're confiscating it. Now, for the update, thanks for the comments on my last post. Here's what's been going on since then. After the whole vaping fiasco with my sister, things took a turn for the worse. My roommate, let's call him Mike, had a girlfriend who'd occasionally crash at our place. She was cool, or so I thought, until I caught her sneaking a vape in our bathroom. The smell was unmistakable, and I was livid. I confronted her, and she played dumb, but I knew better. Mike was torn. He hated the vaping as much as I did, but this was his girl. I thought that was the end of it, but boy, was I wrong. A few days later, I came home to find my sister and Mike's girlfriend vaping together in the living room. My sister had come to apologize, but one thing led to another, and there they were, forming their own little rebel alliance against my tyranny. I felt betrayed, not just by my sister, but by Mike too, for not backing me up. The argument that followed was epic. Accusations flew, and in the heat of the moment, Mike's girlfriend let slip that she'd been using our place to sell vapes to college kids. That's right, our apartment had become a secret vape den. Mike was as shocked as I was. He had no idea. The betrayal cut deep. I couldn't believe it. My insistence on a vape-free home had inadvertently unearthed an illegal operation right under our noses. Mike and I had a tough decision to make. We could turn her in, but that would drag us into a mess we wanted no part of. Instead, we gave her an ultimatum: end the sales or it's over. She chose the business over Mike. It was rough on him, but he knew it was the right call. Just when I thought things couldn't get more complicated, our landlord got wind of the situation. Someone had tipped him off about the smell and the traffic to our apartment. He came down hard, threatening eviction and legal action. Mike and I were in panic mode. We had to prove our innocence. I remembered the text I'd sent my sister about the no vaping rule. That was our saving grace. We showed the landlord the text, the new house rules, and explained everything. It took some convincing, but he believed us. He let us off with a stern warning and a promise to keep a closer eye on the building. The aftermath was a wake-up call for all of us. My sister apologized for real this time, and she's been making an effort to quit vaping. She even started using nicotine patches. Mike was single but relieved to be out of a toxic relationship. And me? I was just glad to have my peaceful, vape-free home back. But life has a funny way of keeping you on your toes. Just as things were settling down, I got a call from my parents. They were getting a divorce. Turns out my dad had been having an affair, and my mom had found out. The family was in turmoil. My sister was a mess, and I was trying to be there for her while dealing with my own shock and anger. The divorce turned nasty fast. Accusations, secrets, and lies all came out. My dad tried to justify his actions, but there was no excuse for the hurt he caused. My mom was fighting for every penny she could get, and I couldn't blame her. The man who taught me right from wrong had been living a lie. Through all this, I learned that life is messy and people will let you down. But it's how you handle the fallout that shows your true character. I stood by my mom and sister, and we supported each other through the storm. Thanks for reading. My cousin hires me as a receptionist, then blames me for her failing business. So I forgive her, but watch as her new boyfriend drains her accounts and lands her in legal trouble. I, a 21-year-old female, started working for my cousin, a 38-year-old female, as a receptionist for her business. To maintain anonymity, I won't provide specific details about her business. Initially, my job was to answer phones and make appointments, and my pay reflected that. Over time, she began to assign more tasks to me, expecting me to handle things that were crucial to keeping her business running smoothly. However, she still didn't give me the authority to make any decisions. This wouldn't be a major problem if she weren't frequently out of the office, ignoring my calls and messages. My cousin claims to have a poor memory, so I find myself having to remind her countless times to meet with potential clients and prepare rough drafts for projects. Clients pay for consultations, but then have to wait weeks for her to actually start the work. Unfortunately, since I'm the receptionist, I end up dealing with frustrated clients who miss their deadlines. As anticipated, her business has significantly slowed down, and she seems to blame me for it. She has started leaving passive-aggressive notes to ensure I'm answering calls and created petty checklists for me to complete daily. She has also decided that since we aren't overly busy, I should deep clean the office every day to earn my pay. I've considered leaving and finding a new job since we have a slow period and I don't have classes over the summer. However, she insists that she wants me to stay and claims she needs my help. My mom has also argued that she's family and I shouldn't abandon her when she's going through a tough time. Recently, instead of giving me one page with multiple notes, she writes them individually and places some near me and others near her. If I happen to miss even a single note, especially if it's regarding a client or a job, she berates me. I always ask her to put all the notes on my desk, and she makes comments about me wanting her to do my job. Last week, I reached my breaking point. Instead of trying to defend myself during her tirades, I would stare blankly at her and ask if she had started particular tasks or called specific clients, even though I knew she hadn't. Every time, it had the intended effect, and she would leave without finishing the conversation. This has upset her a lot, as she complained to her mother, my aunt. Subsequently, my aunt complained to my parents. My dad finds the situation hilarious, but my mom and aunt believe I should stop because I'm being petty, despite knowing that my cousin is under stress. Am I the jerk in this situation? Update: On Friday, my dad helped me sit down with my mom and aunt to explain everything. While they knew I wasn't happy, they didn't fully understand the extent of the situation. I have a closer relationship with my dad than my mom, so it might explain why she didn't pick up on things as easily. My aunt spoke with my cousin and firmly told her that her behavior was completely unacceptable. I'm not entirely sure about the exact conversation, but it ended with my aunt telling my cousin that she must find a replacement for me as soon as possible if she couldn't handle the job herself. I informed my mom that I would be willing to stay until the end of the month, giving my cousin some additional time to figure things out. I didn't hear from my cousin at all yesterday, and most of today went by without any communication. However, about an hour ago, she called and apologized. She mentioned some personal issues she's currently facing, but acknowledged that it doesn't justify how she treated me. She isn't asking me to stay or to forgive her, but she wanted me to know that she is sorry for her behavior and hopes that we can eventually mend our relationship to what it was before the situation unfolded. That's all for now. Hopefully tomorrow work will be easier, and then I'll be taking a week off before starting a part-time job related to the field I'm studying at school. The pay may be lower, but if it gives me peace of mind, I can manage until I graduate. Thank you everyone for your advice and kind words. I really appreciate it. Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1, not the idiot. It's totally fair to set boundaries at work, even with family. Sounds like your cousin's business is a mess, and she's trying to take it out on you. Not cool that she wants you to do more without paying you or letting you actually make any calls. Comment 2. This has apparently upset her a lot because she started raging to her mother, my aunt, who then complained to my parents about it. Another reason why you shouldn't work with or for your relatives. Not the idiot now for the update. Thanks for sticking around for this update. So things went from bad to worse. Remember how I said my cousin was ignoring my calls and messages? Well, she finally showed up at the office one day with a guy I'd never seen before. He was all charm and smiles, and she introduced him as a business consultant she hired to help improve the company. I had a bad feeling about this guy from the start, but I kept my mouth shut. Turns out, I should have trusted my gut. This consultant convinced my cousin to revamp the entire business, which included relocating the office to a more upscale area. The move was a nightmare. I was packing boxes and setting up the new place, all while still juggling my receptionist duties. And guess what? My cousin was nowhere to be found again. She left me to deal with contractors in the internet company, all without any authority or access to the company accounts. Then the news dropped. The consultant, Mr. Charming, was actually my cousin's new boyfriend, and he had convinced her to cut costs by letting me go. Just like that, I was out of a job. My cousin didn't even have the decency to tell me herself. She had him do it. I was furious, hurt, and felt utterly betrayed. But I didn't have time to wallow. I had bills to pay. So I started looking for a new job immediately. It was tough, but I managed to land a position at a local firm. It wasn't what I wanted, but it paid the bills. A month into my new job, I got a call from my aunt. She was frantic. The business was tanking. My cousin's boyfriend had drained the company accounts and skipped town. My cousin was devastated and broke. She had to close the business and was now facing legal trouble because of the shady deals her boyfriend had made in her name. My family was in chaos. My mom and aunt were trying to help my cousin pick up the pieces, but there was so much damage. I was angry at my cousin for trusting that guy over me, for not seeing the signs, for firing me. But when I saw her at a family gathering, looking so lost and broken, I couldn't hold on to that anger. She was family after all. I did something I never thought I would. I forgave her. Not because she deserved it, but because holding on to that resentment was eating me up inside. I even offered to help her with the legal mess, using some contacts I'd made at my new job. It felt like a moment of weakness, like I was desperate to keep the family peace. But I had to move on. I couldn't let her mistakes drag me down any longer. Thanks for reading. It's been a rough few months, but I'm getting through it. My best friend tried to destroy my marriage by spreading lies. So I exposed her deceit and watched as she lost everything. I have been close friends with this girl, let's call her Jane, for over a year. Our friendship started really well, with her kind of picking me up during a bad time. I have been with my husband for over 8 years. We have 2 children together. Jane worked with my husband for a couple years before she left the job. They both have big personalities, so sometimes they would clash, so they didn't come around each other all that often. Jane also hates children, so when we hang out, I can't have my kids with me. It can't be at my house, and it can't be something that involves other children. We had a good friendship, and we would vent to each other about our problems and give each other great advice on life. My husband and I went through a rough patch because our youngest son was hospitalized for a month, and it put a lot of stress on us, our finances, and our home life. I stayed at the hospital for the full month while my husband would work part-time and then join us. Our family kept our oldest son. We went through a lot, but we made it out better in the end. Jane told me the entire time that I should leave my husband. If I had the smallest problem, she would tell me that divorce would solve the problem. She also pushed me to go home and be alone while my son was in the hospital, saying my husband could handle things and I deserved time to relax. I didn't want to. I wanted to be with my son. I told her things were going great and better than before, and she would still find small reasons to tell me to leave him. My husband and I have a deal where one of us is allowed to leave during nap time or bedtime, or if we find a babysitter for one of the kids. One child is disabled and one is a toddler, so it's a lot to take on both, and can be really exhausting. It was a decision we came to easily, and it helped in not making us feel stressed. Jane didn't understand this very well and would say, "Your husband is a dad. He can watch the kids," and try to push me to go out with her. The other day, she sent me a Facebook post that said, "Staying in a toxic relationship for your kids is only showing them that they were forced to stay together." And I said, "No thank you," to the image. She said, "Read it again." And when I declined, I finally said, "I need to say this as nicely as possible. Please stop telling me to leave my husband. I am happy, we are in a good relationship, and I'd like to be able to celebrate my successes with my friends. Please stop making me feel bad for being with him." And she has been ignoring me since then. I admit that my husband and I didn't have a healthy relationship for a little bit, but we are doing so great now. I just can't decide if I'm in the wrong because I've been thinking so much about it, and I might be overthinking it at this point. So am I the idiot? Update: her boyfriend texted me to say she was going into surgery today. I wished her luck and asked him if he had any idea if she was going to speak with me soon. He said that I made an offhand comment about his religion and that I wasn't being supportive of her relationship. I sent her a text wishing her luck on her surgery, and that I only wanted people in my life who are willing to support me in my decisions. And I hope that she feels she has made the right decision because I was done. Thank you all for your great advice and making me feel better about everything. I never realized how much she was putting me down until last night, and I feel like I had a major wake-up call. Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Not the idiot you seem to be, one of those people who are just way too nice and always think everything is their fault. As soon as you said, "I can't have my kids with me," this lady is not your friend. You can have your kids with you. Your friend is just a giant butt. The audacity. You need better friends, or at least to drop her as a friend, because friends don't treat you like this and say these things and not let you have your kids around them. Comment 2. After reading that, you're here asking us if you're the jerk. Lady, how many times do you think she lost any amount of peace of mind over whether she was being a jerk for repeatedly trying, to break up your marriage? Not the idiot. And you're a better friend to boot. Surround yourself with people you like and people you want to be like, not people who want to compete for who is unhappiest. Now for the update, thanks for the support on my last post. Things have gotten even crazier since then. After I sent that text to Jane, I thought that would be the end of it. But no, she had to go and make a scene. She came out of surgery fine, which I was genuinely relieved about. But then she started spreading rumors about me and my husband. Said we were having marital issues and that I was bad-mouthing him to her. It was like she was trying to sabotage my marriage. I was furious. I confronted her about it, and she just smirked, saying she was only speaking the truth. I couldn't believe it. This was the same person who was supposed to be my friend. I had to do something about it. So I gathered all the messages where she urged me to leave my husband, all the times she belittled my choices, and I showed them to our mutual friends. I didn't want to play dirty, but I wasn't going to let her lies spread any further. People were shocked. They had no idea she was like this. Slowly, her support system started to crumble. Friends started to distance themselves from her, but Jane wasn't done yet. She somehow convinced my husband's boss that my husband was unstable because of our failing marriage. My husband was put on leave pending an investigation. It was a low blow. Our finances were already tight, and this could have ruined us. I was at my wit's end. I felt betrayed and cornered. But then I remembered something. Jane's boyfriend, the one who texted me about her surgery, he was a good guy who had no idea what she was doing. I reached out to him, showed him everything. He was appalled. He had no idea she was capable of such things. He did something I never expected. He went to my husband's boss and set the record straight. He told him Jane was lying, that she was manipulative and vindictive. It was a bold move, and it paid off. My husband's boss called him back to work the next day, apologizing for the misunderstanding. Jane was livid. She lost her boyfriend, her friends, and her credibility. I didn't take pleasure in her downfall, but I couldn't help but feel a sense of relief. My husband and I were stronger than ever, and we were getting through this together. Thanks for sticking with me through this mess. If you like this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.